I know how sensitive and painful death can be. I lost my brother in 2020 and I lost an auntie the same year. My brother was only 33. I've had miscarriage at 12 weeks. I've lost really close family members, so I'm quite familiar with death. Dying is a process that starts from the day we were born and becomes rapidly evident and activated through the process of aging. So it's a natural process of life. For those who don't already know me, my name is Adaeze, your wellness buddy. My mission is to help people care for their body and mind so that they can fulfill their God-given purpose. Today, I'm focusing on death, dying well. That's what makes the stories I shared earlier relevant, because I'm not talking as someone who is not familiar with death. Although I must say that I'm quite comfortable with death and it's not something I shy away from. I would say it's a natural thing, but it's also a Christian thing. I remember living Lagos many years ago when I lived in Lagos for about 9 months with my husband, and I told him I want to go to my grandmother and I'm going to help her die. And the day I went to my grandmother's house, that's the day she died. I mean, the audacity. Who helps other people die? But yeah, I'm comfortable with the topic of death, but I know how uncomfortable this can be. I've lived in the UK now for 20 years, and I know that death is quite familiar, especially if you work in the care space where there is palliative care and people talk about their death and they discuss what the plan would be when they're dying and all of that. As a carer, I've seen people die. My first job in the UK was as a home carer, and I remember you see a client today, tomorrow the agency calls you, don't go to that house because the person passed away. It's like, okay, death was so close. But I'm also Nigerian and I know how death could be like a taboo. Nobody talks about death. I remember seeing a joke on Instagram and they said Nigerians don't take insurance because they are covered by the blood of Jesus. Like, we're so spiritual that death is like, it's far-fetched. But thing is, that's the only sure thing in life. Everybody dies. We're all going to die, unless you're a Christian who believes that Jesus is coming, and if he comes, then you might not die. Your body might just change. Death is inevitable. As uncomfortable as it is to talk about, even with someone like me who is somewhat familiar or comfortable talking about it, it is quite uncomfortable. It's quite painful. But if it's something that happens eventually, why don't we talk about it more? Now, depending on where you are with death, whether you're comfortable with it because of your religion, your culture, your profession, or it seems like a taboo and an abomination, something nobody talks about. Nobody talks about it. Nothing can prepare you for the death of a child, for example, a spouse, a parent, death of a friend. Sometimes death of an enemy can be painful depending on your personal relationship with them. Yes, they hurt you, but it's still painful they died. So whether we like it or not, death is closer than we could ever imagine. And why is it important to talk about death under wellness, for example? It's the beginning process of aging. It's the surest evidence, the inevitable evidence that you are closer to death when you start seeing your wrinkles. But what does it mean to die well? It starts from your lifestyle choices. Being intentional about what you eat, what you drink, who you choose to be in a relationship with, what battles you choose to fight, how much sleep you get. Last week I spoke about sleep. You want to check the link, we'll share it. How much you love others, and how much of your purpose you feel you fulfilled. Those are the things that matter when it comes to dying well. How much you control or you let go of to the sovereignty of God. That could determine a lot about if you're dying well or dying horribly. Within the healthcare sector, there are people who are there to support people to die well. But this support is mainly when the dying process has probably started, when the doctor says, you haven't got long to live, or you have a terminal illness. Or really, we should be preparing for our death from earlier on in life, like people write wills and all of that. We need to start preparing. We need to start dying well. Who would have thought that by now, as I'm recording this video in 2025, COVID was 5 years ago. Like, time just passes by. Before you know it, 10 years later, 20 years later, my older daughter now is 11, and I'm still thinking, like, when was she born? How is she 11? I look at what she looks like and I think, wow, she's quite a young woman now. And I know that's how other people are looking at me who knew me when I was a teenager and a baby. But we are all going to die. So what are we doing to die better? To have a good quality of life, to look after our limbs, because those are the things that would carry us in our old age. But the good news is, it's never too late to strengthen your muscles. When you have an accident, that's what the therapists are there to do, to help you. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. Some of these terms are so common. What you eat is, how do they say it? You are what you eat. It's so simple but so profound. Or if you don't use it, you lose it for your muscles. So profound. I dedicate a whole chapter in the ABC of Wellness book, which is launching this December. I dedicate a whole chapter talking about dying well, and I cannot wait for it to get to the hands of people or their tabs or phones. What does it mean to die well? I'm just going to do a quick recap. It means to eat well, to sleep well, to look after your body, your mind, to prepare your body for the period of life where it becomes weaker, because that time would come. And no matter how fit and healthy you are, there will be times where you might struggle to then walk up the stairs because of your age. However, for you to even be able to walk up the stairs, it would be determined by how well your muscles were looked after when you were younger. I'm hoping this has not been a doom and gloom message. It's a call to be more responsible, to know that your dying process does not start when you have a medical diagnosis or you're told you've got 3 months to live. You start dying while you're living. We are better preparing, both spiritually, physically, and emotionally, for that process to go well for us. And I'm not talking about your last few days. I'm talking about your last 20 years, your last 30 years, because that's where a lot of people end up in and out of hospital, and their quality of life just depreciates. And it's almost like you meet someone 4 years ago, they are up and running, and then 4 years later, they are so poorly. And the reason they are poorly is not because they went from 70 to 74 or 60 to 64. It's just many times the accumulative effects of unhealthy lifestyle that makes their dying process or their aging process rapidly terrible. Again, I will emphasize this, as I always do in all my videos, for balance. Some things happen in life, some traumas, some things in life, there are exceptions to these things. People get cancers and illnesses. Even the doctor cannot explain why. And that's why we need the sovereignty of God. However, there are still natural things God has put in place to help us. Your nutrients, your exercise, what you drink, if you're smoking, how much alcohol you consume. Those things would determine your later years and how well you die. Until next time, I remain your wellness buddy, helping, supporting, and empowering you to make wellness a lifestyle, because that is God's will for you. And remember to pre-order the book if you haven't done it. See you next time.